Welcome to Spiritual Changemakers, the podcast that guides you through tough times with practical tools and inspiring stories. I'm Andreea Thomas, your host and the Sacred Transitions Coach. Join us as we hear from spiritual changemakers who have connected with their higher power and overcame adversity. Whether you are navigating a difficult transition or seeking to deepen your spiritual practice, our podcast provides guidance to help you find magic in the change. Come on this journey of self-discovery, empowerment, and transformation with us and unlock your potential to become your best self. Hello, my beautiful souls, and welcome to a new solo podcast episode. I'm so happy to be here with you. I'm tuning in from Tallinn, Estonia. I have came to a Mind Valley event for 3 weeks where I am going to immerse myself fully into personal development and personal transformation for the next 3 weeks. And I cannot wait to share with you all the wisdom and the transformation that is going to come out of that. But today, it's not about that. Today, we are going to have a conversation around how you are your message. And what do I mean by that? Today, we're going to go deep into the topic of how so many entrepreneurs, especially service based entrepreneurs, they struggle to find their message. They struggle to share their message, especially if you are into the spiritual world like me. It's hard for you to bring your message into the world, to make it tangible, to help people understand what it is exactly that you do and how do you serve them. So stay tuned because you are going to learn some really powerful tips on how can you look back at your life? How can you look at your life experience as post notes for what you're actually meant to do here in the world? So this is the subject that we are going to dive deep into. So first, I want to share with you a little bit about my experience. And I have been in this entrepreneurial world since 2020. I've started studying coaching in 2019. And at the beginning, when I started on this journey, I started doing it because I thought coaching is going to help me. I had no idea what coaching is. I had no idea what it does. I never even heard about it, but I got into a company called John Maxwell, if you heard about it, because at that moment, what I desired was to become a speaker. So here I was having this option of doing multiple things, either speaking, training, or coaching. And while coaching was there on the side, it was keep pinging on me. And I'm like, I don't know what is this, but I think it can help me. I think it can help me on my personal development. And this is how I started embarking on my coaching journey. And ever since, it's been such a journey for those that are in this service based type of business. You know what I'm talking about. So there I was becoming a certified coach and then getting into the world, asking myself, what is my niche? Because that's something you've learned in the coaching programs that you're doing, in business programs that you're doing. They tell you from the beginning, okay, you have to find out what is your niche. So you know what is your message. So you can communicate and attract your clients. And here I was struggling to find my message. And if you're listening to this podcast right now, I know you can identify with it. Because at the beginning, you're like, but with my coaching tools, with my service based, I can help everyone. Why do I have to settle on a niche? Why do I have to settle on an audience? And then you struggle. You might be in this, still might be in this mindset that I used to be in as well. You're like, I don't want to do it because I want to help everyone. And as we hear so many times, when you try to help everyone, you're actually not helping anyone because you're speaking so broadly that no one is really going to relate to your message. So I was struggling really hard and I have invested in countless coaching programs. I have worked with tens of coaches, one-on-one, group. I've done everything you can imagine of to really find what is my thing. And I was in this obsession point where I was feeling so frustrated, so overwhelmed. And no matter what type of niche or message I was choosing, I was just not feeling it. I was forcing it. I was pushing it. And I felt so many times that I just want to give up because I was thinking this is not for me. I'm not able to find what is it that I'm actually doing and be able to attract my tribe, to attract my soul clients. But after I have been through some really major transitions in my life, I was working with clients on many different levels. And before I've had my experience with my partner where he transitioned on the other side, I was a business coach. So I was helping other coaches and other healers to start their online business. And honestly, it was feeling so forced. Why? Because I was feeling like a fraud. I was feeling like I had this imposter symptom because I wasn't feeling that I was successful in my business to help other coaches and healers to be successful. So it was so forced and so pushed. And even though before my partner got diagnosed with stage 4 cancer in July 22nd, 2021, I was having like the biggest momentum in my business. I remember getting a 8K client for 6 months, and I was having all these different clients coming my way, but it was through a lot of hard work and a lot of pushing. I remember working 12, 14 hours a day. So after my partner was diagnosed, I have decided to pause my business, to let go of my clients and pause my business. And it was such a hard decision because my business was everything for me at that time. But I knew it. I'm not going to be able to show up fully for my clients, how they need me, and then also be next to my partner. And in that time, my purpose really became to be there for my partner, to take care of him. So I've made that really hard decision to put my business on pause and focus fully on my partner. And after he transitioned, I remember I still took a few months to get back to my business. And when I did, I came back and I told myself, I don't want to do the same thing I used to do because I just cannot relate to my message. I'm not able to fake it. I do not want to fake it. I don't want to force it. And that's when I already started going more and more into my feminine side, into being more in touch with my intuition. I started already working with Akashic Records. So I knew it. I wanted to do things differently. So I started my business. I hired a different mentor, and these sacred transitions came to life. And it felt so alive. It felt so right, so good. And I'm like, okay, I still don't know exactly what it's about, but what I do know is that I haven't felt as good and as confident with a message as I'm feeling right now in my business. And I know all these huge transitions that I've been through in my life, my parents getting a divorce, me moving to a new country, getting my papers, changing my job, starting a business, having a near death experience, losing my partner due to cancer. I knew all these transitions have happened with a reason. And by looking back at my experiences, this is what I want to inspire you right now to take a look at your life experiences. And really, if you're listening to this podcast, put it on pause and write down what are the most significant events that you have been through in your life that have impacted you, that have transformed you, that have like truly shifted your identity from the core. because when we go through these major transitions in our life, they change us, they shift us, and we are just not the same person that we used to be. And this is when you go back to what you used to do. It just doesn't feel right anymore. You just cannot do it, and it feels so much harder and so much resistance around doing things the same that you used to do. And this was one thing for me where I knew I'm like, okay, by pushing really hard, being in my masculine, faking and forcing a message and a niche, it didn't really work for me, even though I had this like success and momentum, to say it out like that, in my business. Before I paused it, it wasn't feeling right. I wasn't feeling fulfilled or satisfied or happy with my business or with my progress, because it was not in alignment. It was not in alignment with my heart, with my soul, with my bigger purpose. And this is where, when we take a step back and when we look at our life experience, when we look at our transitions, the major transitions that shook you up, that forced you to show up in a different way, that forced you to maybe radically change your life. If you start looking at that pain and at those transitions, the the reason why you have been through them is because your purpose resides within those transitions, and because maybe you're actually meant to help other people through similar transitions. And everything changes, everything shifts, because what happens, you got to be able to go out there and help your clients from such a different embodiment, from such a deeper place. You create this bond automatically with your client. You create this deep relationship because you can relate to them and they can relate to you. It's this energetic exchange that is happening when you teach, when you guide, when you help from this embodiment, instead of trying to pick a message, instead of trying to pick a niche based on what you have learned in the courses from your coaches, from your mentors, that it's purely from the mind. That's when you are going to struggle the most, because people are not attracted to what you tell them logically and showing them how much knowledge you have. People are attracted to us energetically, and you become like a magnet when you have embodied your message, when you have embodied your experiences, and when you lead yourself through a major transition, when you are able to bring yourself up. And when I say lead yourself, what I mean by that is to look back right now at your past experiences and ask yourself, am I proud the way that I showed up? Do I feel that I showed up at the best that I could in that moment, with what I knew in that moment, with the knowledge and the tools that I've had in that moment? And really, when you ask that, look at yourself objectively. Because I know even with some of my clients, we were talking about this and they're like, yeah, but I can be very harsh on myself. And no, I think I could have done better. And, I also asked for help, and leading yourself. Part of it, it's to have the courage to ask for help. It's to have the courage to put yourself and be vulnerable and say, I am in this really low point in my life. I mean, this really challenging time in my life. I cannot do it alone. I cannot do it alone, and I need help. I need support. And this is where I was with my partner. I knew I cannot go through that journey alone. So I'm surrounded myself with all the help that I could have get during that time, during the cancer journey and after. I have worked with coaches, with healers, with therapists. I have had support from my friends, from my family, from everyone. And when I look back right now, I have no regrets. So maybe you are going through a challenging time right now. Maybe you are in the storm right now. And I want to ask you a question that my coach asked me when I found out about my partner's cancer journey. And he asked me, Andrea, I want you to look back 1 year from now. And this question is for you. I want you to look back 1 year from now and ask yourself, how do I want to show up during this journey? Who do I want to be? And answer that question very honestly. Like tap into your heart, drop into your heart, and ask yourself, who do I want to be? Because every challenge, every transition, it's an opportunity of growth. It's a portal to access your deepest wisdom, your deepest strength, if you choose to access it. And I answered to my coach that I want to be a freaking leader. That's who I want to be. I want to lead myself. And that's what I did. I led myself. And when you lead yourself, you can lead others. You have the power, you have the strength. You have just this innate, like, knowing within yourself that you can do it, that you can help others because you have helped yourself. And do you feel the energy? Do you feel the difference? It's something that you feel it. It's not something that you think it. And this is how your audience, your soul aligned clients are going to feel towards you when you decide to make your life your message, when you decide to look at these really hard challenges, these really hard experiences as, wow, maybe there is a bigger purpose, a bigger reason on why I have chosen to go through this. So I can help others too. So I can help others lead themselves as well. So really what I want to encourage you here to look, it's right now in your business, where are you operating from? So take a moment and really feel into it. Drop into your body and ask yourself, where am I operating from in my business? Is it purely from my head? Or is it from my heart, from my bigger purpose, from my embodiment, from my experience? And with this, you might find a reason on why maybe you're still struggling with your message, with your niche. And what I'm sharing with the world right now, what I'm sharing with you, what I'm sharing with my clients is like, just drop the niche. It's not about a niche. It's not about picking a niche. It's about becoming specialized, becoming a specialized coach. And this is what I do for my clients. I help them become specialized transitions coach based on their embodiment, based on their experience, based on those challenges that they have been able to lead themselves. And when you do that, people are going to transform. Your clients are going to experience the biggest shifts. Because I'm sure you've heard this before, we cannot take people deeper than we have taken ourselves. And when you come from this heart-centered place and you connect with your audience, with your clients, with your soul line clients, from this heart, from this embodiment. Sometimes it's enough even to just be there and hold that sacred space for them, that safe, sacred space, and transformation occurs because you get each other at a soul level. You know what it means. You know how it feels. And I hope this episode is going to inspire you to take a look if right now maybe you feel that you're not passionate about your business anymore. Maybe you're still struggling with what you do, with how do you bring your unique message into the world. And take a look back at your experiences and see which one ignites you, which one has been the one that transformed you the most, which one had shifted your identity that you just couldn't continue the same anymore. You couldn't continue your life in the same way you have lived it until that point. So these are the things I want to invite you to do, to put on a piece of paper what are your biggest challenges that you have experienced through your life. What are those biggest radical transitions, the dark night of the soul that you have been through? Then the second thing I want to invite you to do, once you have those on the paper, is to look at them and connect with them and ask yourself, okay, from all these challenges, is there any one of them that I feel pulled, that I feel this spark within my heart, within my body to help other people through the same thing? And then the third thing I want to invite you to do, it's really to know that when you give yourself permission to choose one of these experiences, you also give other people permission to choose you. Because many times we are so afraid of choosing because we are afraid that we are not going to be chosen. So tap into your heart and really feel how you're opening your heart to choose and be chosen, to help people at this really crucial time in their life that you know if they have the right support, the right tools, the right guide, it's going to elevate their lives at this very high level, and that they are never going to be the same because you're gonna guide them to lead themselves so they can show up as their best version in that moment and learn the lessons they are meant to learn in that moment and experience those challenges and those radical transitions from a whole different perspective because you chose to guide them, because you chose them. But you have to make a choice. So, what are you going to choose? What are you going to choose? Lead from your heart and allow yourself to be guided. Because when we open up and when we open ourselves up, signs are all around us. But we have to believe and to be open in order to see them. And by you listening to this episode today, I want you to look at this as one of your signs, as one of your signs that you are closer. You are closer to your soul aligned clients. You are closer to live your purpose than you were before. And I hope this episode inspired you to lead from your heart. Make sure you share this episode on Instagram. Leave us a comment. I'm here to support you on your journey, to share from my life experience, from my transitions, because I do know they happen, all of them, with a reason. And I'm sharing with you from an open heart, knowing this is going to change someone's life. And thank you for stopping by. Thank you for taking this time for yourself. Thank you for listening to your heart. And I really want to tell you how much I love you. I appreciate you. And I believe in you. I truly believe in you. Thanks for tuning in to Spiritual Changemakers podcast. To stay connected and help us reach more people like you, please subscribe, follow, and leave a comment. Join our community of spiritual changemakers on social media to connect with like-minded individuals and continue the conversation. Remember, the power to create positive change is within you. Keep showing up as your best self, and let's keep the magic of change alive. Until next time.